Yeah.
We actually have another question from the audience, and this one is coming from Scott Scowcroft. And he wants to know, Mary, has anything really surprised you during your time on Genealogy Roadshow?
Well, besides the fact that every day is surprising, I would I would say the Catch Me If You Can story from the Cabildo with Mr. McDougal. It was just, you know, an awesome story of his great-grandfather, Charles Montaldo, and it was kind of, you know, a Catch Me If You Can story, kind of tracing this guy through newspapers and other records around the nation, whether he be, you know, committing some sort of crime in one area or, you know, getting into some other mischief in another area. You know, some of the things actually surprised me that we kept finding the same pattern of behavior in so many places. That was, you know, a really fun story to do, and Graham the guest and his family were just wonderful people to meet too.
That was a fascinating story, actually. I think what he told his family that he was up in Alaska.
Yeah,
but, he said. Yep. But what happened was he was down in California and then in I think Arizona, and he got married again. I think maybe it was a putative marriage because I don't know if he had divorced the wife down in New Orleans. Am I correct? Or
exactly. That is precisely right. So he was bouncing around from, you know, these various cities, and we were able to track him through newspapers and various other records. And it seems like, you know, mischief kind of followed this guy, but he definitely was not in the Klondike looking for gold. I mean, maybe he tried to get up there, but he was not in the Klondike. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
How much history do you need to know? Like, for example, I got my BA in history, and which is histories ago. But you know, do you need to have a really good historical background to put things in perspective?
I would say absolutely, Stephen, and I am a constant student. That is one thing I will never stop being. You know, I'm always learning new things about various aspects of history based on, you know, what the research is. In each of the 3 cities that we went to on Roadshow this season, New Orleans, St. Louis, and Philadelphia, I had a chance to get really a crash course in local history in each of those 3 places through the stories that we were researching and presenting. Because, I mean, you know, genealogy is not just names and dates. It's the historical context and the lives of each of these individuals that we descend from, or maybe are in our extended family tree. So we have to put these people into context of, you know, the ideals and the history in which they lived. And that's what really makes, you know, prevents genealogy from ever getting old, because you're always learning something new no matter what you're researching.
Yeah.
You know, Andrew Hatchett's bringing up a really good point, and this definitely is for you, Mary. And he's saying that less than 2% of records are online right now. So, I mean, really, when it, I mean, I know you were talking about the team that it takes to really dig up all of this information. So, being that 2% online, I mean, what's kind of the process that you go through to find the kind of information that you do get?
Well, as a lot of genealogists, speaking specifically of our Genealogy Roadshow research team, I mean, we definitely start online. We exhaust resources online, and then we turn to the Family History Library, which was just featured actually on the show yesterday, and we see what's available on microfilm or in other resources out at the Family History Library, and then finally, once everything's been exhausted, we need to go on site to these locations, and for that we incorporate the skills of local researchers in that area. Going back to each genealogist's expertise, we find a genealogist that specializes in the local area, in this case New Orleans obviously, that had New Orleans expertise, and they go and either conduct some research or pull some records for us. So that's definitely a huge element of our research process, not just for the show, but for every genealogist does this.
Awesome, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so that was basically all of the questions that I had for you, Mary, but I wanted to say that if you could leave the viewers with one little blurb, something that you really want to sink in for them, what would you say to them?
Well, I would definitely say that you will not want to miss the next week's episode, which is taking place in New Orleans at the Board of Trade. It has the mystery element, the detective element, the diversity, and just captures, hopefully in my mind, the sense of the city of New Orleans, which is very, very special to me and to Kenyatta and Josh. So I would just encourage them to watch. You're not going to want to miss next week.
Let's see now. It could be about corruption. Right?
Could be.
Yeah, no, I'm just joking because New Orleans is known for that, but as well as Mardi Gras and great food and great people.
Fantastic.
Great food. It's superfood.
I have a curious question. So, just what do you think about sites like Ancestry.com?
Oh, it's a wonderful site. They're actually a funder of Genealogy Roadshow, so we love them. Thanks, Ancestry.
Awesome.
Yay.